There's an abandoned village deep in the UK countryside, a place locals refuse to speak about. On most maps, it doesn't even exist. Legends say, anyone who enters never returns. One weekend, 4 friends, James, Emily, Oliver, and Sophie, set out to explore it. Their goal? Film a vlog, capture something spooky, and share the experience online. They didn't know that they'd be walking straight into a trap that no one escapes. The road to the village was long, isolated, and suffocatingly quiet. Fog hung thick in the air, making the landscape feel unreal. The first sight of the village was unsettling. Rows of houses with locked doors, every window covered by curtains that seemed to shift, as if someone was peeking from behind them. At the village entrance, a half-broken wooden sign stood crooked in the dirt. The words, though faded, were still visible. Leave before sunset. The group wandered into an old schoolhouse. Dust and decay coated the place, yet something about it felt alive. On the blackboard, freshly written words appeared. "We are still here." Children's shoes were neatly lined against the wall, clean, unworn, as though left there just minutes earlier. In the next room, a flickering monitor came to life. It displayed a live feed of the school corridors. The friends froze when they realized what they were seeing. The screen showed them inside the building. But instead of 4 figures, there were 5. Panic set in. As they argued over the impossible image, they suddenly realized Oliver was gone. They searched frantically, only to discover more CCTV footage. Rewinding the tape, their blood ran cold. A dark figure had appeared behind Oliver, pulling him into the shadows. When the footage was paused, the figure's glowing eyes turned, staring directly through the screen, straight at them. They fled back to their car, desperate to leave, but every road they took wound back into the central square of the village, a time loop. With each return, a new window creaked open. Behind the glass, something shifted. A whisper seemed to echo through the fog. "One more must stay." Sophie pushed into one of the houses. Inside, rows of portraits lined the walls. Old villagers stared out from cracked canvases, but every pair of eyes had been violently scratched out. Among them, Emily froze. There, hanging on the wall, was her own portrait, completed, already aged, as if she had always belonged here. The survivors sought refuge inside the decaying church. Its bell rang on its own, filling the air with a hollow metallic toll. On the altar, a diary lay waiting. Its pages told of the villagers' pact with the shadows, a desperate deal to preserve themselves beyond death. The final entry chilled them to the bone. "The outsiders will replace us." Moments later, Sophie collapsed to the floor. Her body twisted unnaturally, bones cracking into shapes that didn't belong. When she stood again, her face was blank. Her clothes had changed. She was no longer Sophie. She was one of them now. Then, without warning, Oliver reappeared, his skin pale, his eyes pure black. Whatever he wasn't Oliver anymore. Only James and Emily remained. They stumbled into a library where an ancient map hinted at a hidden exit, but scrawled beneath it were chilling words. "Only one may leave." Emily urged James onward, and he forced himself to the final gate. Carved into the stone above the door was one last message: "Only the chosen one leaves." James stepped through the door, blinded by a searing white light. Relief washed over him. He thought he had escaped, but as the light faded, the scene shifted. Back in the village, a new window creaked open. Inside, a face appeared, pale, lifeless. It was James. Now he too was one of them, and the village remained silent.